This is an introduction to Religion 2000, Understanding World Religions. This introduction gives a basic definition of what religion is. I want you to take a little time and go over this presentation and just to kind of give you a taste, an introduction, a basic definition of religion. As we try to define religion, we begin with conditional reality. Conditional reality is the material realm, the realm of our senses. Those five senses, what we see, feel, touch, hear, and smell. That's the material world that we live in, things that we can measure, things that are quantifiable. But the realm of religion is really the unconditional reality, which is the spiritual realm, the realm of the spirits, the realm of where the spirits dwell, which is beyond the material world, beyond our senses. And we can't necessarily get there by ordinary means, by means of a bus, a train, or a car. And so these two realms, these two spheres of existence are separated from each other. The conditional reality that we live in every day and the unconditional reality that is far removed from us are separate. And so religion somehow finds a way to bridge the gap between the conditional reality and the unconditional reality. Religion then is the porous wall or the doors or windows that create access between the two realms. It is the way we kind of bridge that gap. We get from one realm, the material realm, the conditional reality realm, into the unconditional reality realm. And essentially the practices or teachings or rituals are the things that allow whatever religion that we're talking about, the people that practice that religion have access from one realm to the other, whether that be through prayer, worship, meditation. Some people use all kinds of different methodologies to try to bridge the gap, to try to cross over from the material to the spiritual realm, from the conditional reality realm to the unconditional reality realm. And so religion essentially is the bridge. It's the porous wall with windows and doors that you have access to, and you have shaman or priests or pastors or various experts that help you learn how to cross from one realm to the next. Now, there are various types of religious expressions, and we're not going to take a lot of time with this in the class that we're going to be taking together online. But I wanted to share a few of these expressions. Number one, you have theological expressions, the doctrines or what is said of that particular religion, whatever it might be. It will include whatever the doctrines, teachings, myths, or stories, or anything related to that kind of thing that is taught by that particular religion. Then you have practical expressions, that is what are actually done in that religion. Some religions require fasting, or they require worship services or various rituals, etc. Those are the kinds of things that is known as the practical expressions of that religion. And then of course you have sociological expressions, which is how the groups within that religion are formed together. Sometimes they can be formed as cults or denominations or associations or meeting groups or whatever they do, what kind of social groups are created as a result of this religion coming together. And so I just wanted you to get some idea. And we're going to be talking about these various types of expressions, the theological expressions, the practical expressions, and the sociological expressions as we move forward in this online class. There are ancient types of religions that I also want to talk about. As we get into the first two chapters of our book, we'll talk about some of this. You have the hunting and gathering religions that were the traditional African and Indian cultures. They had these various types of religions where they would pray and ask the spirits to give them success as they would travel, or they would go on their hunting expeditions and they would actually ask the spirits of the animals to be amenable and not to be too angry with them as they would go out and hunt these various beasts. Then, of course, you had agricultural religions like the Aztecs and other type religions like that, where the focus of the religion was for successful harvest of the agricultural products that they were growing. And one of the things that the Aztecs did was that they would have human sacrifices and sprinkle the blood into the ground as a propitiation, or to assuage the gods, the spirits, to be faithful to them and to be helpful for them to be able to have success in their agricultural pursuits. And so these ancient religions had these various aspects, and the two main types were hunting gathering religions and, of course, the agricultural religions, and we'll talk more about that when we get into chapters 1 and 2. Then we have what's known as the cosmic religions. These are religions that are based on the movements of the sun, the moon, and the stars, and so on. For example, the Druids in Europe, primarily in the region of the Anglo-Saxons, most of the religions that are quote-unquote Christian religions now really came from the solstice holidays of the Druids. Christmas, the Yuletide, Halloween, Easter, all are festivals that were based on the solstice, how long the days were, and so on, the winter solstice, the spring solstice, and so on. And so a lot of these religions watched the movements of the sun and the moon and the stars and based their services, their rituals, and many of the things that they did on those things. The Hebrews, the Jews, also had certain rituals that were based on the movements of the sun and the moon. They had new moon ceremonies and so on, but they also had the Sabbath that was based on the rising and setting of the sun on the seventh days. So these ancient religions that followed the movements of the sun, moon, and the stars are termed cosmic religions because their rituals and their services and their belief systems were generally attached to the movements of the starry and celestial beings and entities in the sky. Now, at the end of every chapter, or at the end of every section that deals with a religion, you're going to notice that there are a list of common features that each religion has. And I want to highlight them here for a moment. Number one, each religion will have some concept of the absolute, which is the most essential object or concept for a religion, whether it be God or nirvana or whatever. Each religion has some essential being or entity or object that it's focused on. The second thing it'll have some view in relationship to how it sees the world, what the world is and what it's about, what's important about it, and its view regarding the world. Then it would also look at what human beings are, essentially what we are, how we came to be, and so on. And as it relates to humans, it will always deal with some problem that needs to be solved for humans, whatever that problem is. As in Christianity, humans need to be saved from sin, whatever that problem is. And then, of course, the next thing, what is the solution that the religion provides for that problem? And so each religion will have at least these elements, in addition to a couple of other elements that we will mention in just a moment. Another common feature of religion will be community and ethics, and that for each religion is the thing or things that would make human lives ideal. It talks about the various ethical things that should be done one for the other, or how we should relate one to each other, or how a human being should relate within the community. And then there's also an interpretation of history. Where did men came from? How did we get into the mess that we're in, if in fact the religion says we're in a mess? It'll have some type of mythological story or some kind of narrative that will tell us how we came to this point. And each religion will have some type of interpretation of history. Then it will have rituals and symbols that are important to that particular religion, some type of service or some type of ritual or dancing or meditation. It may have visual images, statues, other things or symbols that relate to it, or things that some type of action you might have to go through for that religion that has some significance to the religion that you're in. And then it will have some idea about life and death. It will have some idea what happens after a man dies. It seems like each religion has its own interpretation as what happens after death and what life is all about. And finally, it has some type of relationship to other religions. Some relate well with other religions. Other religions are very antagonistic toward other religions. They feel like they're the only ones that anyone should pay attention to. And so this last feature is very important, because in many instances, especially in some wars and national conflicts, they may have erupted because of this last feature of how some religions relate to the presence of other religions in that national environment. And so these are some of the common features of religions. And I hope that as we go through the book and as you go through the course, you will begin to learn a little bit of something about these various religions that we're going to be dealing with, and these traditions from all around the world. All right, I hope you enjoy the course.